Inflation is the highest that it's been in 40 years. It's up a whopping 7%. So what are my predictions for 2022? The best coins that you should have on your radar for 2022, keeping in mind the implications and the effect the Fed is going to have on the markets. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm just going to give a bit of a background of what's going on with the Fed, because this is crucial to understand if you're going to be in cryptocurrency in 2022. So if you didn't know, if you've been sleeping under a rock, the Fed released their meeting minutes. The FOMC meeting confirmed that they were going to be raising interest rates, and the market lost its shit, essentially. But we already knew this about interest rates. Like, the market was already kind of prepared. We knew inflation was growing. We knew they were going to raise rates, but we didn't know the extent of like the fiscal and monetary policy that they were going to do. So we didn't know that the inflation was going to last longer than expected. And we didn't know that the Fed was planning on reducing their current balance sheet. Okay, so you might be wondering at this point, why does it matter if the Fed decreases its balance sheet? What does it do? How does it affect the market? And also, why do stocks or crypto assets like Bitcoin or Tesla plummet when investors are worried about inflation? So as you would know, when the coronavirus pandemic hit, the Fed started printing money and they started something called asset purchases. Now, these asset purchases weren't things like NFTs or Bitcoin or Tesla stocks. The Fed puts their money into a lot safer, more secure assets. Stuff like mortgage-backed securities and bonds. And when the Fed is said to stop these purchases, it's called the Fed tapering. When the Federal Reserve starts to sell their bonds, this is going to create a decrease in the price, but it's actually going to increase the interest rate. So the rate of interest that you're going to earn on those bonds is going to go up. So that's going to be very tempting for investors. And a really good way to compare this to the crypto world is through DAOs. So like Wonderland or Olympus DAO, where if you have a lot of selling pressure and that decreases the price, the interest rate, which is the return you'll get from staking on the DAO, is actually going to go up. So it's a really good way to correlate the two between bonds and DAOs. So the next crucial thing for you to understand is how inflation affects stocks and the price of digital assets. So keep in mind that inflation means that a company's profits are going to be worth a lot less in the future. And this could vary depending on how bad the inflation is. So say you have a company like Tesla, and Tesla makes $1 billion each year. And in 5 years, they're going to have $5 billion. Well, that $5 billion isn't going to be worth $5 billion. It's more so going to be maybe $4.3 billion or even less. It really depends on how bad the inflation is. And investors are concerned, and there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the inflation and how much it's going to affect profits in the future. Hence why stocks go down. Because why would people want to pay a premium on a Tesla stock when they don't know how the profits are going to be affected in the future? So the question to ask yourself, and this is a question that a lot of other investors are asking themselves right now, is would I rather put my money in stocks or bonds right now? Because remember that as the Fed sells off their bonds, this means that interest rates are going to go up pretty substantially. So people might get a better rate of return from bonds than they would, say, stocks of Tesla. So this is definitely the crux that investors are under right now, especially at a time of uncertainty. So I highly recommend going through your portfolio, mitigating some risk, and keeping yourself aware and informed about what the Fed is doing during this time. Okay, so at this point in time, you're probably like, all right, Cass, thanks for all this information, but how does this affect Bitcoin? And if you aren't thinking about that, then you probably should be. And this is because Bitcoin is seen as a risk-on asset, which means that during times of uncertainty, people tend to sell off their Bitcoin, and history has shown that. For example, in March of 2020, when we saw that big crash in the stock market due to the coronavirus pandemic, Bitcoin crashed alongside it. And what this says to retail investors, to hedge funds, to institutions, is that Bitcoin is a correlated asset to the stock market. The fact that Bitcoin has fallen when the stock market has fallen indicates that they're still highly correlated, although I wish they weren't, because they really shouldn't be. But unfortunately, the market is mass psychology, and history has shown that they are definitely correlated. How long they'll be correlated for, Who knows? So another thing to keep in mind is that when the Fed sells off its bonds and increases interest rates, this tends to strengthen the dollar. And history has shown over time that Bitcoin and the dollar have this kind of like inverse relationship. So when the dollar strengthens, it also weakens Bitcoin and vice versa. So this is also something to keep in mind. The Fed might pull out all of its tricks and strengthen the dollar and fix this inflation mess that they've created. So my first prediction for 2022 is going to be momentum in DeFi. So DeFi could be the next narrative shift because DeFi actually produces a yield. So when the market is down, people just want assets that are going to generate a good yield for them. And the safer that yield, the better. So lending, borrowing, all the kind of DeFi, decentralized financial applications that are available are going to get a lot of attention. Because you got to ask the question, are you going to get a better yield on some DeFi than you are maybe on a bond? And this is the things that are going to come into people's mind. Where can I put my assets? Where can I put my crypto assets, income, money, whatever, into something that's going to generate a yield? And DeFi has so much growth and some amazing yields available to people all over the world. So the first coin on this DeFi list is Terra Luna. Now, Terra Luna has had some insane growth in the past few months, and for good reason. They are creating an entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. But the reason they are at the top of my DeFi list is because through Anchor, you can get over 19% APY return on your stablecoin UST, which is insane. Like, that is a really solid APY to be generating on your stable coins, and this is the reason why it's at the top of my DeFi list. Okay, so the next coin on my DeFi list is Chainlink. Now, Chainlink is crucial for DeFi. So basically, Chainlink is a network of decentralized data oracles that bring a continuous feed of live data. Now, why this is crucial for DeFi is because DeFi needs that continuous feed of live data to function, which is why a lot of Ethereum DeFi projects utilize Chainlink, like Aave, like Yearn Finance. Like, Chainlink is crucial to these projects. Okay, so the next coin that I'm super bullish on in 2022 is Radium. Now, this is because I utilize Radium so much, and I'm not the only one, because it has the highest number of total value locked on the Solana ecosystem, and for good reason. Radium has lightning fast speeds. It also has an NFT marketplace, and it also leverages liquidity through Serum. There are so many amazing features on Radium, and it has such smooth functionality. Like, if you haven't used Radium, then you have so much to look forward to. So Aave was a coin that I was holding for a long time, and I sold way too early at the beginning of the 2021 bull run. Way too early. So there's a little bit of a sore spot for Aave, but I'm super bullish on it in 2022. So Aave started off on the Ethereum blockchain. It was one of the first DeFi protocols built on Ethereum. And it's had huge success, and it's now extended to Polygon and also Avalanche. Now, there's talks of Aave building a decentralized social media platform, which I'm super excited for. But yeah, Aave is definitely in my top DeFi platforms for 2022. So my next prediction for 2022 is massive growth in NFTs and the Metaverse. Now, this is because good projects will always do well, and where there's high growth, where there's a large number of people moving into the space, it's going to experience growth and expansion and most likely price increases. So this is why I'm super bullish on NFTs and the Metaverse in 2022. Also, you would have noticed, despite Bitcoin's crash from its all-time highs, the NFT marketplace has still been doing relatively well. Guys, remember what I spoke about in the beginning of this video when I talked about what the Fed was doing with interest rates, and also about people looking for a way to earn a higher yield. So you got to think about the Metaverse, and especially play to earn games. That is a way to not only have fun, but also earn a passive income or earn a yield. And there's people all over the world that are making passive income from play to earn games. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying this video, please don't hesitate to smash the like button. It really helps the algorithm out. Also, let me know what you think about this video in the comments below. Let me know what you think about these coins, what you think about my predictions. I'd love to know your opinion. And also, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel, because I make videos every week on how you can make money in cryptocurrency. Guys, before I jump into my top Metaverse tokens, I just want to be transparent with you guys that my knowledge on the Metaverse and my experience with the Metaverse is fairly new when it comes to cryptocurrency, when it comes to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Polygon, Polkadot. I know a vast amount of information, but when it comes to the Metaverse, I'm still a newbie. So I just want to give you guys that information so I can be transparent with you. If you guys want to do your own research into Metaverse tokens, I highly recommend doing it. But these are my top Metaverse tokens that I'm really bullish on so far. And obviously the first one is Sandbox. Now, Sandbox is a virtual Metaverse where people can build, create, play, and monetize their own virtual experience. And they are having a lot of partnerships like Adidas, Polkadot, they are all building within Sandbox. So I'm really watching this space and I'm really excited for what's to come. Decentraland is the next Metaverse token that I'm super bullish on in 2022. Now, this is because they're creating a decentralized virtual reality. So when I imagine like a virtual reality Metaverse in the future, like Decentraland is like the closest thing I get to like this futuristic VR technology where people can go shopping, they can go to concerts, they can play games, and it's all comprised within the Metaverse. Okay, so my next prediction is something that I don't see a lot of other cryptocurrency YouTubers or content creators talking about. And this is the decentralization beyond blockchain. I'm talking about Amazon Web Services. I'm talking about us replacing Amazon Web Services with decentralized infrastructure. Now, what's happened in the past is Amazon Web Services has gone down, and all these websites, all these projects that depend on Amazon Web Services can't access data or can't access file storage. And in those times, we realize like how vital decentralization is beyond cryptocurrency. This is why my last coin that I'm super bullish on in 2022 is Aleph.im, because they are essentially creating a decentralized Amazon Web Services. Now, I have covered Aleph.im in a previous video on my top Solana projects, and after I covered them, Aleph actually pumped, and I think it's going to pump way more this year because we have a big need to decentralize the infrastructure that upholds the blockchain. So that's all I have for you today, guys, and you can check out my video on Aleph.im up above, and yeah, I'll see you next time.